really good. They're really great. I've watched them in the ring. But sometimes when you come into WWE, you know, they know that you're good too. So sometimes they don't bring you in hot and heavy. Sometimes they bring you in to test you.
The Wyatt Sicks attacked Paul Ellering in the Final Testament. So I'm assuming these are the next targets, Bill?
Yes, I'm sure it is. And, you know, I was pretty shocked being in that building and seeing precious Paul Ellering take that mandible claw there. It really shocked me that they did that.
Has Paul Ellering, Teddy, always been well in shape? Because I never see him out of shape. He looks like he's in the gym all the time.
Well, I didn't see him much in the gym back in the day, but I always saw him, you know, he's always been in good shape. He's always looked great, man. You know what I mean? So I'm pretty sure he does work out. I mean, Paul Ellering was kind of a loner. You know what I mean? He didn't, you know, you didn't walk in the gyms and see people like him, you know what I mean, all the time. You know, Paul kind of stayed to himself. But yeah, he always looked great, man. He certainly take care of himself.
Any memories
when he was younger, he was a bodybuilder when he was younger.
Yes.
Okay.
What he liked to play is the stock market, and he still does. He's a genius when it comes to the stock market.
Teddy, any stories from working with him back in the days of the NWA, working with Paul, anything that comes to mind?
Yeah, I had a match with him at Capital Combat. It was hair versus hair.
And you got no hair.
And he didn't have any either.
Yeah.
So that was an Ole Anderson booking.
Hey, what was his reason for booking a hair versus hair match when you got two guys with no hair?
I have no idea.
Ole. That was the reason. It was Ole Anderson. Just go in, do the damn thing, and leave me alone.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Let's see. There's a possible competition coming away. It's not possible. It is going to happen.
Matt, and I just cut in for a second.
Sure.
Paul Ellering and I have a very big history because of the days he managed the Road Warriors.
Yes.
And he was one of the finest managers ever on TV, and with the Legion of Doom. They would have been successful without him, but he really made the Road Warriors into perfection.
Well, I think the managers back then, you had several managers that made the difference. J.J. Dillon with the Four Horsemen made a big difference. And I feel like that's something that's missing in today's wrestling. I always have. I miss the days of the managers being ringside and being involved and being real heels ringside. That to me is something that's just desperately missing. I also think that there's a need for another one of those Mean Gene type of interview guys in wrestling that we don't get anymore. I miss that kind of presentation where you got a guy who runs down to the ring and tries to get the scoop right after things happen. You don't really see that. Everything's staged backstage now. We need something else like that. But I miss the tag team days. Teddy, I know you got to miss them because that was a big part of your career.
Yeah, well, I miss all that back in the Attitude Era and all that because, you know, I had plenty of fun. I had a chance to work with some of the top guys in the wrestling business, man. You know, I lived my dream. So I'm saying to you, yeah, I miss it. Like I said, that's why I don't watch a lot of it now because sometimes I see things and I'm like, wow, why would you do, you know what I mean? But who am I? So like I said, the business has changed. We're moving on in a whole another direction, you know, so we just have to go with the flow.
And
when they bring back Saturday night's main event, I would love to see the ringside interviews. I think that would be a perfect place for it.
I do too.
You think you know all the wrestling stories? There's more you haven't heard yet. Join us on Backstage Pass.
Look, I do want to bring something up that I saw this past week. The Motor City Machine Guns made their return to wrestling in WWE this past Friday night on SmackDown. I got to tell you, did you get a chance to see this, Bill?
I was underwhelmed.
It was underwhelming. Why? What went wrong with this? My gut feeling is that they didn't really introduce who the Motor City Machine Guns were. I think they were just relying on the fact that everybody remembered from TNA. Well, not everybody who watches what you're presenting remembers TNA or even knows what TNA was.
I'll tell you why I was underwhelmed. Tell you why I was underwhelmed. When the bell rang, one of the two of them started getting killed immediately. I mentioned this on another one of our WrestleBinge shows, is that they were probably up 20% of the match. 20%. When they're trying to get these guys over, they did win, but it didn't. I would have had them much more involved on the upside than getting killed during that match. To me, they should have just been against another tag team, not in that whole tournament thing, and just gotten over really strong. And maybe they'll be involved in the tournament. But it's a shame. I didn't want to be underwhelmed. So those guys, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, are great wrestlers. They really are. And I just don't think they were showcased properly in that match.
Teddy, did you get a chance to see it?
No, I did not.
It was for those who are, because there may be people who say, well, no, the crowd went wild. It sounds like the crowd went wild when you watch the program, but if you watch the fans that are in the camera view, they're not cheering. The cheering's coming across in the speakers and what you're listening to, but the fans aren't on their feet and cheering as loud as it sounds.
Well, you got crowd noise.
Huh?
Crowd noise.
They added the crowd noise in, and so it was kind of offsetting. It almost kind of pointed out the fact that this response isn't going like it should be, because they thought and expected to see a big eruption for these guys.
Right. Well, let me say something to you about that too. Like I said, I didn't watch it, but I'm familiar with the Motor City Machine guys. Yeah. I'm familiar with them, and they're good. They're really great. I've watched them in the ring. But sometimes when you come into WWE, they know that you're good too. So sometimes they don't bring you in hot and heavy. Sometimes they bring you in to test you. You know what I mean? Let's do it like this. Let's see how they'll accept this. Because some people know how hot they are, and some people will say something about, hey man, why you bringing us in like that? We're top stars. We're the Motor City, So they test you a lot, and sometimes you have to know when you're being tested.
But they won. They were given
They did win, but the problem was, as you said, Bill, the match made them look a little bit weak, especially in the beginning of the match. It just made them look weak.
They were trying to get the crowd going. Did you notice that?
Oh, yeah, they tried.
Stop, and he'd go, to try and get the crowd going.
And the crowd wasn't responding.
Well, the presentation killed them.
Yes, I agree.